Hello, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of Varsity Aces Live. My name is Darren Cooper, local sports columnist on NorthJersey.com. And tonight, we have 2 and 3 very special guests. First guest tonight will be Super Football Conference President and St. Peter's Prep football coach Rich Hansen and Lakeland cross country and track coach Damiano Conforto. We're going to talk about what this abbreviated fall season will look like in both football and for the cross country kids. And my great colleague Paul Schwartz will also be along. But first, we want to bring in the elder statesman, my good friend. They call him, he is the last remaining dinosaur, is what they say sometimes. Coach Rich Hansen from St. Peter's Prep. Coach, it is a pleasure to see you. How have you been, Coach? How have you been?
Been great, Darren. How are you?
I'm good, Coach. Thank you so much for asking.
Except for the Flyers jersey on, but all right.
What's it been like to deal with just all this uncertainty, Coach? How hard has it been? The details have changed from week to week, day to day. How have your kids been? How's your coaching staff been?
Our kids have been phenomenal. I mean, we just finished our second day of phase 1, and they've been, it was flawless. So my kids and my staff have been terrific. If we can maintain this kind of level of focus, I think it'll be a great thing for us. But it's just such a hard environment for everybody. Like you just said, I think facts and information is changing on an hourly basis.
Right.
Day to day, you don't know what's going on. So we've been adjusting, but just happy to be back on the field, happy to be together, and hoping for the best.
Coach, they say phase 1's is basically conditioning. It's almost like a track workout in a way. Yeah. What kind of thing have you done with your guys to try to keep them at least invigorated and interested in in your workouts?
Yeah. So obviously we're in 10-player pods, which is a little difficult. We have 80 guys on the field today. We're doing a simulation of some install, some skill development, and flipping with conditioning. So we don't have a lot of time. Workouts are limited, including warm-ups and cool-downs. No balls can be shared. But again, we're back on the field. We're doing what we can do. The kids are moving. They're flying through things. We're having our meetings in the morning and we're practicing in the afternoon. Zoom meeting, just an informational, this is what's coming. And the kids have been very receptive. So, like we said, it's changing day to day, and we're just glad to have it where we have it right now.
Coach, on Friday, the NJSA put out what they believe should be the fall calendar starting October 1st, right. 6-game regular season. We'll talk about playoffs in a second. What was your first instinct? I'm sure you knew maybe a day or so or 2 days before it happened. What was your first instinct when you saw that calendar? What'd you think?
Well, the shutdown in the first 2 weeks of September, as it's been explained, is really just so that kids can get a proper reacclimation to school, whatever it's going to look like in September, and I get that. The October 1 start, listen, right now I think every football coach in New Jersey will take the 6 games and the +2 kind of, showcase, let's have some fun with it format, as opposed to the alternative, which is nothing. So, for us, let's have some fun with it and let's do what we have to do. And I don't think anybody's complaining, Darren. I think it's kind of like we're still holding our breath because, Virginia knocked out yesterday and 5 states are going to knock out in the next couple of days. And, Texas is on the brink and California is going to be one of those states, and Florida's not far behind. So the dominoes are falling. And I think it's important for us to stay focused and take what they give us and keep working with the NJSAA to get it done, hopefully.
I'm curious to know, too, as also president Super Football Conference, the biggest high school-only football conference in the country. Right, Rich?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Where do we stand on schedules? Like, who are you opening up with? What's the status of? I know Mr. Bavino is going to work on this, but where do we stand? When teams are going to get their schedules, who they're going to play?
Yeah, well, we have an August 1st deadline timeline for that. Yep, we meet on Monday. Actually, executive committee meets on Monday. Members of the executive committee, Super Football Conference, to start putting a matrix together, and the matrix is going to be one that we can put into effect October 1 or put into effect March 1, whatever is thrown at us. So it's going to be flexible. It's going to be based on a 6+2 model. Going to try and stay within divisions as much as possible because there will not be state champions crowned this year. There aren't going to be state playoffs. So, the divisional alignment becomes really important. So division championships will be, the showcase. And we feel good about that in terms of the super conference. We think we have 112 great schools. Our coaches are outstanding and are doing a great job. So we have to maximize the super conference, strengths, and the strength is in our numbers. Put together a great competitive schedule, hopefully within our divisions. And then, the +2 thing, let's have some fun with it. Let's think open. You have nothing to lose, everything to gain. It's 2 more games for the kids. Let's make them competitive. Let's put them in a great environment, and let's make it fun for everybody.
You did touch on one thing. You said we'd have a schedule maybe for October 1st and a schedule for March 1st. As this kind of goes on, I'm talking to more coaches, and I'm sure you are too, who are starting to wonder about the feasibility of moving to the spring. Now, the NJSIA has seemed to be a little reluctant to kind of mess with the spring because we want to preserve the spring kids because they got screwed last time. We don't want to mess. But as the coronavirus kind of goes on and we can't predict, could we really play football in the spring, Rich? Could we really? Could it fit?
It's not optimal, but I think there are a few models that if the fall isn't played, the NJSIA is ready to talk about 3 or 4 different models. And I don't think it's going to be intertwining fall and spring sports. I think the seasons are going to try to be moved so that winter will still be winter, fall will be the next one, and then spring will be the traditional spring, maybe a little later. But we don't want to put athletes in conflict or even coaches in conflict. We don't want to compromise facilities, and we want to keep it as safe as possible. So with those 3 things in mind, I think the seasons themselves will be set up to be, mutually exclusive and provide everybody an opportunity to play their sport. And if they're 3-sport athletes, they'll still have the opportunity to do that.
I listed some of your qualifications at the top, but one thing I left out is also athletic director. When you hear the thought about doing that, trying to merge that all together with a winter like January, February, fall, March, April, right. Do you have some concerns, at least as an athletic director, of trying to balance everything, the fields and the gyms and everything Prep has?
I do. Yeah. I have great concerns. Number one, for our safety. It's going to be really, football is in everybody's face right now and soccer, but I think it's going to be really hard to play indoor sports in our environment today. Now, we don't have to do it today, but to play basketball, to wrestle, to play hockey, it's going to be difficult. So we have a great challenge in front of us to get the safety measures in place, but also balance schedules and make it in that environment, make it as safe as possible. It's going to be a challenge, but hey, that's why we're in the business, and we're going to try and do the best we can for our kids and our coaches.
Coach, so now explain to our audience a little bit about what the football coaches and the NJSIA are thinking about the playoffs. There was a lot of talk about what the playoffs will look like last Friday. How we're so used to sectional championships on the public school side and state champions on the non-public football side. So what's the thinking right now, the coaches and the model they're talking about going forward?
So as of today,
you got to say that. You got to put that in everything.
As of today, and this is really important for everybody to understand, there are not going to be state champions in football, public and non-public. That concept is going to have to be taken out of the equation just because of the time factor. So the 6+2 model, as I said before, let's make, and speaking for the Super Conference, let's make a great 6-game regular season divisional, season where kids can have a great experience. And then those +2 games could be something we've never done before. It could be public and maybe a public and a non-public in a group together, or maybe 2s and 3s. And, let's see how, in my opinion, let's see how the season plays out. Because if there's a 6-0 public school, big public school who's really, really good, I think that coach will want to play anybody. It really wouldn't matter. We're all about competition. We're all about having fun with this. It's an opportunity to not worry about PowerPoints, not worry about
OSI this year. No OSI this year.
Right. You don't have to worry about that stuff. All you have to worry about is being in a competitive bracket and having fun with it. And listen, New Jersey high school football coaches, our association is a strong association. We can figure this stuff out. We can make it a great +2 kind of tournament or +2 kind of season and keep it safe and keep it great for the kids. That's the challenge. And if anybody's going to tackle that, football coaches can and will.
Who's going to let's say St. Peter's Prep? I hear they're going to be pretty good. Go 6-0. Who's going to decide maybe who you guys would play in the pod? Who would decide?
Well, I think it's going to be probably by conference, because I think travel is going to be a concern. All right, so we don't want to play in North Jersey against a South Jersey school. So I think it'll be conference by conference, and I think members of an executive committee would be appointed, kind of like a seed committee for us. Dennis Nelson and Dan Vivino and Joe Pyro and John Ferraccio, really capable, articulate, smart guys who know football. Probably put together a really good pod. We're talking about 25 pods or so for us.
Right.
28 pods. If 5 of them are mixed, then 5 of them are mixed. If they're not, they're not. But I think this is an opportunity to create competition in an environment with that New Jersey fans and players don't normally get to play in. You don't really go and see. I'll just pick 2 schools. You don't go and see Hackensack play Bergen Catholic in a pod. You don't get to see St. Peter's and West Orange in a pod. So I think those things could be exciting for people and for coaches and for players. You
referenced the size of the league, and that is that's an advantage the league has.
Yes.
Could you also realign some of the divisions when we come up with the matrix, like you said, come up with the schedule? Yes. I mean, since the league's got teams in every group, could you almost structure it like, hey, our group 1s and group 2s, those, we make 4 divisions of, I'm just hypothetically. Of those, and those 4 winners are like, in one pod, the second place teams are in a pod.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, that's certainly one formula to be considered. And I think we do a lot of that already with our divisional alignments.
We do.
Not exclusively, but a lot. But I think that is one formula that could possibly work and is on the table and we've discussed. So almost making the pods automatic coming from those 4 divisions or whatever. The one thing we don't have to do, and Drew Gibbs said it in the call Friday night, the one thing for him, and obviously he's head coach of a very good program, public program, he doesn't want to play a repeat game. And, it got me really motivated to say, we don't need to do that. We have 112 schools. We don't need to play repeat games or home-and-home series or anything like that. And then we started talking about making it really exciting. So everything is open now, Darren. What you mentioned as a formula, and there are 4 or 5 other things that I think could play themselves out to be really exciting for people. And most importantly, exciting for the kids, because there's so much interruption in our lives between school and athletics and summer recess and our schedule. Let's put something together that's really, really good for these guys and give them something to play for, some excitement.
One thing I think has been lost a little bit in all this, people that was told to me Friday that I know but I don't know that the general audience knows, is there's no MetLife Stadium. We can't play there. We're not going to Kane. These pods also have to kind of be self-contained. They have to be at the home schools.
Yes, no question. So, safety at sites is going to be important and really getting to, maybe we have a limited number of sites and play multiple games there. The best sites in our conference, maybe do something like that. Again, I think that it's a shame MetLife isn't going to be on the table. Probably Rutgers isn't going to be any of the state schools. But hopefully, as we've said multiple times, this thing changes every day. So maybe that aspect of it will mutate into something positive as we go along here.
Just a couple more things. I would ask you kind of a different topic, Coach, but I know you're uniquely equipped to answer the question. How has the delay and the pause, and how has it impacted recruiting? How has it impacted recruiting for your kids without being able to go places and stuff? Has it had a big impact? Has it had no impact? Has it a little impact?
It's had a big impact. It really has. It really has a profound impact because, as you know, the spring evaluation period was lost, and the NJSIA and the New Jersey football coaches were able to craft a great spring plan for evaluation of our players. So that was put on a back burner because of COVID. All the showcases were put on the back burner. All the college camps were put on the back burner. Our 7-on-7 season was put on the back burner, which is, it's a huge, format for kids to showcase their talent. So what did it come down to? It came down to these virtual workouts. It came down to relationships with college coaches, and it's going to come down to, the beginning of the season. And the kids that are going to be most impacted are those fence-sitting tweener kids that possibly with 2 or 3 really good early season games, especially, could elevate themselves from being, Division II or 3 players to 1AA or 1AA to Division I players. They're missing that opportunity, and that's why I think this piece of it is really critical to me. For exactly what you're saying. If the Power 5, if the SEC and Big 10, Big 12, Pac-12, they all go to the spring, okay, right. That makes it so much easier transition for us to go to the spring, because then signing periods can align and things can maybe change so that the recruiting season will align with the high school football season. I think that's really critical. If not, it's going to really depend on relationships and the integrity of the program and our tradition of players moving on to college. And I feel good about that, but I also want our guys to have an opportunity to be evaluated. And that's not the case at this point.
You touched on the spring again. For the thing I worry about, Rich, about the spring, the March weather, you would know. I mean, how much baseball practice do they do outside in March, right?
Yep.
Not much. And football is a different animal, and you can get away with it. And it'd be interesting to see if the colleges move to that kind of model. And also the kids who have the kids I feel bad for, Rich, and I'm sure you do too, are kind of the 1AA kids, right? Yep. The ones that the schools that don't have the major recruiting budget, that now don't get a chance to see some of your kids at that level, right? That's a big loss for them.
Yeah, no question. And it forces you to be creative as a coach, to design, film workout, do videos, get kids to film themselves. It really makes it difficult. And, with the Patriot League moving to the spring, and I think some other, the PSAC move, I think there are going to be others to follow. Hopefully, all of football is on the same page. And if all of football is on the same page, I think the recruiting thing will take care of itself.
What would I just thought this thought just occurred to me too. My other sort of worry about the spring is, hey, let's say by March, April, this thing is beat back. Are any fear about playing football March, April, and then 2 months off, and then like kicking off again in June, July, and keep going?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, I'll take that over not doing anything. And we can, like I said before, football coaches are pretty, creative. We'll make it work. We'll make it. If the college guys can make it work, we'll make it work. I just think, a couple things will come into play that are going to be really, really important. The injury factor and making sure that you're lifting in season and taking care of the injuries and dealing with injury prevention lifts. Because I think, the quick turnaround into the summer and all this, what the summer always is for us, and then right back into the season, I think you're going to have to be really smart on how you transition out of your season into that stuff. So it's not ideal, Darren. It's not ideal to play in March and April, but I will take that 100 times out of 100 over not doing anything.
And you just have to prepare for it. You
got to be creative and figure it out.
All right, Coach, somebody once called you the most powerful person in North Jersey athletics. I don't know who that was, but I think he's over here. Rich, it was great to see you. I will come see you real soon. I love that place you got out there. I had a great time last year when we spent the day.
Awesome, Darren. You're welcome all the time. You know that.
I know, buddy. Thank you. Coach Rich Hansen from St. Peter's Prep joining us here on Varsity Aces Live. And now we want to turn the page and bring in my friend and colleague, Mr. Paul Schwartz. And he's got a special guest, Lakeland cross-country and track coach Damiano Conforto. Damiano, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Darren. How are you?
I'm good. Look at all those trophies in the background there, Schwab.
What's that? Yeah, look at that. And he said he would have had another one if we had the spring.
I would have had a couple more, I think. This was a quarantine project. I had him sitting in a box. I said, you know what, maybe I'll do something nice. And a couple of them are Paul's articles, too, up in the corner. So,
wow.
Yeah.
All over there to autograph them.
Yeah, I might have to.
I'll do that.
Tough act to follow with Coach Hansen, I'll tell you that. Class act.
Well, Damiano, obviously you have some news to give us tonight. I mean, Lakeland was supposed to start phase 1 on August 3rd, but that's no longer going to be true. Is that correct?
That is correct. Our Board of Ed and our superintendent, who was former Bergen Catholic soccer coach, really supports our athletics, and they decided last night, at the last minute, to approve our contracts so that we can start phase 1 next week and get the ball rolling, which is huge because, as you know, you need to get through phase 1 in order to get to phase 2 and then eventually into the season. And, you know, phase 1, you know, not in my sport, cross country, phase 1, phase 2, I mean, besides the pods, it really doesn't matter much. But for sports like volleyball and football, where you are using a ball, it means a lot. So we're glad that they supported us. Now,
you just said it, you sort of anticipated a question. What are your girls doing right now? Obviously, you've got, you know, you were second to Clifton last year in a very great state county meet, won the sectional, came down to the group meet and really gave it a battle, and you have everybody back. So what's going on with the Lakeland cross country program right now?
So as we all know, we're a young program. I started the program 2 years ago with not one kid. So they all came in and they were all freshmen. So I was blessed with great captains. They came in as captains freshman year. We carried that through. We added Angelina last year. Everybody knows who Angelina is, cross-country runner of the year. So I relied on my captains. I've been relying on Frank Lamberti, who we all know is a track and cross-country legend, to build the mileage while, you know, we're basically virtual right now. So in our sport, it's all about getting those miles in, building them up. And obviously, once we get into phase 1 and phase 2, now I can incorporate the speed workouts, the hill workouts that we need to progress and hopefully not come in second place anymore, because we're sick of that.
Now, Angelina Perez, obviously, not only did she have a great first cross-country season, she also won the state meet of champions indoor at 2 miles at 3,200 meters. And Abigail Horave was 10th in the state meet of champions in cross-country. Angelina had some asthma issues at the end of the year, but Abby came on was tremendous at the end of the year. So you potentially have 2 all-state runners this year, but you're not going to be able to run in a group meet, and you're not going to be able to run in a meet of champions. So what's this season going to look like for you?
Yeah, you know, at this point, losing a spring track team that, you know, I said before, I thought could have done equally as well as this cross-country team, it hurt us. So, you know, we're going to take what they give us, to be honest with you. And if I can get 3-4 meets, I'll take it. You know, we're ready to run. These girls are hungry. They lost their spring track season. You know, if they give us a state sectional, we're going to go out there and we're going to do our best. Obviously, I would love a group championship. I think we could be right there at the top with that. I would love a meet of champs. I know Angelina and Abby, you know, both I think are top 10, maybe even lower than that in the state. So, you know, it's a little heartbreaking, but I can't be disappointed if I have anything. You know, I really can't. So we'll take what they give us and we're going to run.
And you bring up a good point. Obviously, having a season this year in cross country would be very important, because assuming what would have happened if you didn't have a season last year, for instance, in cross country?
Well, no one would have known who Angelina Perez was. That's for sure. You know, if you don't know, she played soccer. I was lucky enough to you know, see her run that prior spring. And I just threw it out to her. I said, "You're a really talented runner. If you ever want to, you know, come out and work with us, you know, the invitation's open." She took that. It hasn't even been a year, because it was last August. You know, she took upon, you know, my request. She came out, and, you know, the rest is history, because from that first day, she kept up with the very talented girls that we have, Abigail, Faith, and obviously Caitlin. And, you know, we discovered something. I think there's a lot of Angelinas out there, to be honest with you. Maybe not on her level, because she's pretty elite, but I think there's a lot of kids out there. And if you don't have a season, those kids will never get the opportunity. You know, this changed her life. You know, I see her as a Division I track and cross country athlete. She's probably going to do this the rest of her life. And, you know, if we didn't have a season last year, it never would have happened for her. So it's pretty amazing.
And I guess it's different. It's different with no spring. So what did you actually do with the spring season with your distance runners? When it was shut down, what did you do? Did you start cross country early? Did you have 2 seasons? What did you actually do with your distance kids?
I kept the faith. I really did. You know, we spoke during the spring season. I really thought we were going to have something. You know, we kept the faith for a spring season to happen. When that reality, you know, didn't come, we transitioned to cross country, and that was basically building the miles up at that point. And the plan was that we're going to get more and more miles in every week until the point where we can now enter the season, and like I said, start those speed, the weight training, the hills, and all those other things that supplement a winning team.
Now, have you had new kids come out? Do you have freshmen that are coming into the program this
year?
I
will. You know I do. Yeah, I keep my eyes and my ears open. You know, I really do, and I really scope out. If I see a kid running on the street, I literally pull over and ask them what grade they're in, where do they live. So, you know, I'm always searching for that hidden gem, and I've been pretty lucky. So we do have a couple freshmen that have joined the team. Are they another Angelina? You know, that's a different story. But I think that we have some very talented runners coming into the program.
And when phase one's, like next Thursday, you said will be your phase one. Other than their temperatures being taken and paperwork filled out, what's going to be different about Thursday now that you're starting what's now 10 days earlier than you thought you would?
So the big difference is that we're going to be put into pods. So we're going to create 2 pods. We're going to have a varsity pod, and we're going to have a JV freshman pod. And so it's just minimizing the numbers, keeping that number under 10, letting them go out, still get the workouts, but obviously they're not going to be, you know, a larger group than, you know, what they've been experiencing. So breaking them up, keeping it safe, you know, getting their temperatures checked, like you said, getting the paperwork in, but that's basically it.
Because these kids are putting in the mileage now. I mean, they're not coming in having not run all since May. They've been running all along. Right. And one final thing for me, with the schedule has not come out from the Big North yet. I know Coach Hansen was talking about there is no schedule even for football yet. What do you anticipate, if you do, what the schedule will look like for you this fall?
So I anticipate having 1 or 2 invitational meets. Obviously, I would hope to have a batch meet. I would, you know, like it, but obviously that's not a requirement. But a conference, a county, and the state sectionals are mandatory. Those 3 meets. So if I had to take 3, those were the 3, you know, that I think you have to have.
Coach, I'm curious to follow up on Schwan's question. Do you have any insights about what a meet would look like? Like Schwan and I talked about this months ago about you chip. Can you chip kids? Can you send them off staggered? Can you, you know, how? I mean,
yeah.
Cross country presents its own problem in that it's such a big group, right. But they don't all need to necessarily compete at the same time, and they're all technically running against the clock in a way. So it can be done, right?
It absolutely can be done. The 2 things I thought about this. It's not ideal, but you might want to stagger actually performance times on these kids so that someone like Cameron from Ridgewood is not running hand in hand with Angelina, which is difficult because you want them to compete. But if you stagger the times, you have kids that are, you know, sub 18, you have a couple kids that are, you know, in the 21 range. You do break that up a little bit. It's a little bit easier for them to socially distance on the course, which is difficult. But I think it can be done. I really do. I think that New Jersey, what we went through was difficult. I think we learned. I think we're very intelligent. I know we have a lot of very intelligent, creative minds in the NJSIA, in our county, and our conference. So I think they're going to make this work. And, you know, I'm hoping for nothing but the best this year, to be honest with you. We're hungry, man. We are hungry.
I got to go back to one thing, though, Schwa. Like, wait, really? You pull over on the side of the road in Wanacue and like flag down a kid and say, "What age are you?" Have you really done that?
No, yeah, and then the kid takes down the license plate number, and Damiano gets a visit at home.
I can up it. Not only do I do that, but I live in Oakland, so Paul knows we lost to Indian Hills last year in the state sectionals. I pull over on my roads in Oakland, and I ask the kid, "What grade are you in?" so I can scope out the competition.
He's into it, Darren.
Oh yeah.
Fantastic. Well, I could use some tips myself, Coach. Man, I got an arthritic knee, but I'm still churning out the miles too, Coach. I love your trophies and your Paul Schwartz pictures and stuff in the background. Good luck to you going forward the rest of the season. Like you said, we hope, man. We all hope.
Keep it alive.
All right, Coach. Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Mr. Schwartz, again for always bringing the goods. That'll wrap things up here on Varsity Aces Live tonight. My name is Darren Cooper. And remember, let the players play and the coaches coach and the officials officiate. And let the Varsity Aces tell you what you need to know. Good night, everybody.